Okay. Ventrue, the aristocratic blue buds embody wealth, sovereignty, and control. Top level corporate executive will join the ranks tonight. Toreador, the divas seek thrills of art, romance, cruelty, amidst stagnant and death. A tormented. Sorry, I couldn't read it. A tormented artist will join their ranks tonight. I mean, I live with a tortured artist. That is actually me, really. I'm kind of tempted to do this one because, you know, a woman, definitely not me, unless I'm a bearded lady. Um, but also like the opposite of me as a human being. This person. Fuck it, should we just do like? We'll just do that one because then we'll know to do that one, and then yeah. 'Cause I'm assuming the stories are slightly different. What? Okay. New York taught me to believe in fate. Okay. Okay. New York taught me to believe in fate. Had you asked me? Oh, okay. Had you asked me about fate back when I was a human, I would have told you it's just superstitious bullshit. That we are all designers of our own destinies. That belief shattered when the richest woman in the United States, the actual richest one, not a face you could have seen in the papers, of course, sank her teeth in deep into my neck. It happened in the very same place you're standing in right now. By the way, fate, you decide. Should I give it voices? What do you reckon? My name is. Oh, it happened in the very same place you're standing right now. By the way, fate, you decide. Dot dot dot. Please, there's absolutely no need to be hostile. Just listen a little longer. See my mistakes? Was that I flew too close to the sun. It makes sense that my punishment was to never see glow again. I was incandescent myself. I was hot shit. I had it all. I had the monies, the looks, the confidences, the connections, men, women, a career, and a spark in my eye. The one you need to be born with. That's when someone far more powerful than me saw my ratings and thought, that would not do. She rubbed me out a line and rubbed her from my vein. I gave me a hot on and giant gleam in my place. She decided that would fit me such much better. She was a ninth generation kindred, just like you. Apex predator. She probably enjoyed teaching me the peak of human excellence, my real place in the food chain. It's such an eyesore when you look at some motherfucker and see them for all they really are. The temptation to teach them a lesson can be unbearable, right?
Well, thy sire's lesson was a lesson about fate. A message saying you are eternal doomed to be at the mercy of your sovereigns. It almost drive me to destroy myself. That saved me. Oh, hang on. Steady on. What saved me was the ability to reinterpret her teachings. Hers wasn't a message of doom, it was a message of hope. Fate exists, and one can shape it if given the right tools. My sire didn't believe my tools were fitting for the job. She considered them toys, and me just her amusing subject. Well, she's deader than dead now, and I'm still here, standing right where she stood when we first met. So I try to read it, and, you know. You might have wondered how I've learned about your arrival to JFK Airport. My answer is, of course, destiny. As luck would have it, today happened to be a day some of my associates were inspecting the coffins. I'm trying to have a cigarette. Driving you here, straight from the plane, and having you wake up in such an unfamiliar place was a little desperate. I do apologize for it. But it is so rare for you to visit New York. 3 times in the last 15 years, was it? And you are never eager to inform me you're here. I understand. I understand you still have that meeting on 53rd Street later tonight. So I'll provide a comfortable transport. I value our relationship very much. Don't get me wrong. But it is precisely because I value it that I am going to ask you to repay the favor you owe me. You're the only one I'd trust to do the job well, and without attracting attention. You might think I'm crazy, asking you to breach the rules of our society like this. You might think it's impossible to get away with it unpunished. But this is New York, and I don't know about other cities, but in this one, fate really exists. And right now, it's smiling in your favor. And this is how it begins. The music is pounding in your head, and your pulse is keeping pace. This is one of the nights that makes you feel alive, even though it started with you feeling dead. First came the messy breakup, then the realization you have nobody to talk to about how much it sucked. Still, you decided to roll with the punches. They're raving away in the background. These guys, boring goths, stood around staring at the fucking wall. These lot, having it. On Facebook searched for local events later, and you found your way. Found just the thing for your malaise. A short subway ride away. You find yourself at the club outside Dumbo. Not a fancy one, mind you. More like a slightly refurbished warehouse. But hey, at least the drinks are cheap. The DJ seems to really know his stuff. Sorry, know his shit too. Alternating between cutting-edge industrial techno and classic Detroit crowd pleasers. Expertly feeling out everyone's mood. An hour passes, then two. Usually you'd feel awkward coming to a place like this alone, but tonight you find something soothing in joining the crowd, blending in, even as you allow the beat to take over. Sweat, yours, other people's, soaks through your shirt and pants in a matter of minutes. Sounds like an erotic novel. I mean, it's got vampires in it, so it could well be. A thought pops into your head. From the outside, the fully packed club must seem like a stuffy, smelly nightmare, but there in the thick of it, it becomes exhilarating. And you're not even on a pill tonight. Drugs. Disgusting. There's this Latina chick whose curves are accentuated by the light dress clinging to her body. And she keeps bumping into you. Something tells you it only seems incidental. Yeah, it's a good night. You wish it could last forever. Because you know all too well what the next day holds. Waking up, getting dressed for work, the commute, the 9-to-5 grind that will make you just enough money to pay the rent and keep living in your overpriced shithole of an apartment. And with Jessica moving out, it'll all be coming out of your pocket. You run some quick calculations in your head and immediately come to regret that you did. Never mind, you spot the Latina again. She's now next to another guy, hitting it off. Your chance of not going to bed alone, gone. Like that. Fuck. Your mood temporarily shot down, you leave the dance floor and stumble your way to the filthy bathroom. You take a look in the mirror and start to wash your face obsessively. Over and over again. A voice from the past echoes in your mind.
I've never felt like this with anyone. Sorry I meant it. I feel like all my relationships are at this point. With test runs, a shitty way to compensate for my low self-esteem.
Jessica. This is Jessica. Nice.
But this feels right, finally.
Shut up, Jess. This was the craziest fucking day of my life. God, I need a smoke. Pass me a light. What do you mean cops took the light out? There's one in your mouth. Just shut the hell up. This is not you. Not anymore. Oh,
Fuck off. This is so like you, acting like some sort of King Eastwood wannabe when I really, really need you to open up.
you think you're impressing people with this tough guy act? Fuck you. I know how broken you really are. You need therapy. Yes, now that sounds like the Jessica of today. You raise your head and look in the mirror. You try to smile. All you can muster is a self-pitying grin. And there she is, the Latina from before. She says, "You look like you need a drink." You hesitate for a second or two and then blurt out a surprisingly enthusiastic, "Yeah." You start to talk, it quickly becomes evident that she's into politics and you're eager to please. You might be a corporate drone, but you spend a lot of evenings reading theory. Actual theory, not bastardized Twitter cliff notes, and organising for all manners of causes online. The status quo sucks. There must be something better. She agrees. You seem to subscribe to the same progressive political theories, have compatible ideas about the DSA's missteps, even watch the same YouTube channels. Your goals are aligned. She's a bit more radical than you'd have guessed. You attended a few rallies, been to a few protests, but this girl sounds like she broke her share of faces and kicked more than a couple of cops in the nuts over the course of her activist career. Her zeal is infectious. She taps into pent-up anger that you didn't know you had. Noisy's club stops working for you both, so you hit the streets. Just as you realize that you're leaving, the DJ starts playing All the Things She Said by T.A.T.U. Of course, you chuckle to yourself, trying not to slip into a bad headspace. She chuckles along with you. It's chilly outside, but soon enough you find yourself too invested in listening to the girl's voice to care about anything else. You realize you've been holding hands for a while. The subway car is empty, save for a stoic middle-aged couple and a drunk staring intently at his own feet. Barely room to stretch out, and yet she sits right next to you. You can feel her thigh pressing into yours, her breath on the side of your neck. But maybe it's the booze chocolate, but you distinctly hear your voice asking if she'd like to crash at your place. "I've got a better idea," she says. At this point, you're down for anything as long as it lets you spend just a few more minutes with her. She takes you to a sleazy motel in the Bronx, trading a few words with the balding, tired-looking guy at the front desk. He hands her a key. Still holding your hand, the woman leads you upstairs. The room you end up in is almost comically stereotypical, complete with flaking paint and a sticky floor. Not that it matters though. The moment you step through the door, she's on you. You try to take the lead, but she's having none of it. Before you know it, you feel the rickety bed pressing against your back. It's sloppy, fun, fierce, and at once does she lose the initiative. Your hands reach under her t-shirt. Strange, it didn't look like she was caught outside, but now asking through his cause of sensing your confusion. She slaps her hand off you. She kisses your neck. You are overwhelmed by the sensation. Darkness. The taste of liquid fire and smoke on your tongue. Her voice says, "Sorry, kid. I did what I had to do to leave this city in one piece. But don't worry, with my blood and your principles, you're gonna do just fine." She slams the motel door behind her as she leaves. You lie helpless on the spore pungent mattress for some time. Minutes, hours before... Minutes? Hours? Minutes, hours before you can focus enough to try and piece together your evening. It hits you. The big hunger. It grips you by the throat and makes your insides shrivel in terror. It's an all-encompassing emptiness that throws you on all fours. You crawl for a while, scream on the floor in shuddering pain, then jump to your feet and bust out the door. You black out. This isn't the room you saw when you last closed your eyes. Somebody curses at you, a small naked buff dude holding a short leather whip. Whoa, what a goofy motherfucker. He throws a punch. He yells out several slurs. He hits you in the jaw. You black out again. The guy isn't moving anymore. There's blood on his neck. There's blood on his arms. There's blood on the floor. There's blood everywhere. Wow, whoever did this is one sick puppy. You realize you're sitting on top of his corpse. You hear a whimper. Someone else is there, a woman. Her arms tied together. Her arms are tied to the bed frame. An eye mask over her face, red marks on her back. This time you see it happen. You want to stop, but you can't. She almost manages to get a scream out, but it dies in her throat as you bite into the side of her neck. You drink blood. You're drinking blood. You could swear you feel her life force escaping her body, entering yours. Suddenly terrified, you tear away from her. She's not moving, but she's breathing. There's barely a mark on her neck. The guy on the floor, though, he is fucked up. Whoa! She's fucked up. He's fucked up. You double over in a spasm, realizing what you did. You feel like throwing up, but can only gag. Panic sets in as another realization dawns on you. Your heart is not beating. You put 2 fingers to your wrist, but feel no pulse. Same thing on the neck. Nothing. There is no breath coming out of your mouth. You have to get out. Get someone to call an ambulance, for yourself at least. Probably too late for the dude on the floor. Did you already kill him? Did you really kill him? Sorry. What a mess. What a mess. You look up at the door. You look up. The door to the room is ajar. A tall, handsome, broad-shouldered man fills the entire frame. He brushes an imaginary speck of dirt off his perfectly tailored suit. Oh, look at me. Yes, me. Hey man, this isn't what it looks like. That's good to hear, because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're in a world of trouble. He surveys the room, not moving an inch from where he's standing. He shakes his head in mock concern. Murder, assault, it's 25 to life, if you're lucky. But since you're not, it's a death sentence. He takes a glance at his expensive-looking watch. Lucky for you, it's been a slow night. Otherwise, I might not have gotten here in time. Come on, the sun comes up in a few hours. You don't want to be around when it does. What's it matter when the sun comes up? Ah, so you don't even know. You should be glad I got here before you made yourself scarce. The man approaches you, starts talking. His tone remains unnaturally calm. Oddly enough, you find it both soothing and slightly unnerving. Now listen to me. I know this is all new to you, but I've dealt with hundreds of strays like you. And going by experience, they tend to fall into two categories. First, there are the really smart ones who carefully obey my every word and don't try to pull off anything stupid. I always get them where they need to be, safe and sound. And then there are the dumb ones. The punks who thought they could take me on. The wise guys who tried to contact somebody secretly and without permission. The troublemakers who tried to run off or make a scene. None of them got to their destination in one piece. In fact, most of them never reached their destination at all. His voice becomes slightly bored and monotone. You can tell he's given this speech before, likely dozens of times. So you see, while I generally consider myself pretty smart, I'm also a Mets fan. It's my one true weakness. One that inspired me to come up with a three-strike system when dealing with pups like you. If you get on my nerves once or twice, well, I understand. Not all of us perform well in stressful situations. But cross me 3 times and you're out. No excuses, no forgiveness, no mercy. As he's talking, he slowly approaches you, adding a bit of theatrical swagger to his walk. Eventually, he leans in, deliberately evading your personal space. You realize it's a test. He's daring you to do something about it. 3 strikes and you're out. So, say, understand, sir, now. You know, you've never been too eager to bend the knee to anyone, but this is something else. This man's very presence instills a primal fear in your heart. With all due respect, sir, go fuck yourself. Strike 1 and watch the language roll. Okay. Moving on, is there anyone else you'd like to inform of the current situation? Tell them you're alright. He flashes his fangs briefly, and for some reason, the sight sends a chill down your spine. There is something very wrong about him. Someone closest to you? Jessica, my ex-girlfriend. You can't hate some guts, but yeah, I suppose it would be her. The stranger gives you a puzzled look and decides to prod further. The closest person in your life hates your guts. This time, something resembling a look of pity. He turns his eyes to the corpse on the floor. When it rains, it pours, I suppose. Well, if you'd like to ruin her day and let her know you're alright, give me her number. I'll someone take care of it, discreetly, of course. You hand him your smartphone so you can copy the number from your list of contacts. Thank you. This will be useful in illustrating my next point. Instead of giving you back your phone, the man hides it in his pocket. From this point on, you are subject to different laws than the ones you grew up under, and you'll be watched by many eyes to ensure these laws are respected. You are forbidden from letting anyone know you're still alive. You're forbidden from showing your face anywhere they know you. Someone comes looking for you, it's over for both you and them. He interrupts his monotone recitation and stares deep into your eyes. So unless you want your girlfriend to end up at the bottom of the Hudson, I'd suggest you cooperate. I should never have said about her then. He proudly displays his fangs. Again, you've put Jess in danger. God damn it. I can only hope that you care for her enough not to do anything selfish. His words are meant to imply otherwise, but now it's obvious he hates your guts as much as you hate his. He's itching for a fight, and you are almost willing to oblige. Alright. I think that's enough lecturing for today. We're on a bit of a schedule here. Now I don't need to hurt you, but I can do so in the blink of an eye. Just so that we're clear, I have the authority to end you right here, right now. This is not an idle threat. So are you going to play along, or do we have to do it the hard way? You weigh your chances, but it doesn't look good. But it doesn't look promising. The guy's fit, determined, and looks like he means business. You, on the other hand, are confused, exhausted, and on the verge of a panic attack. Yeah, fine, I'll go with you. He almost looks disappointed. A wise decision, follow me and close the door behind you. You take one final look at the woman who's just coming to, the body on the ground. This is fucked, absolutely fucked. You pull the handle and close the door. The man leads you down the stairs. You contemplate signaling the bald guy at the front desk, but he's too busy watching some 90s action flick on the small, ancient-looking TV. He seems totally oblivious to your presence. You hear a dejected Jean-Claude Van Damme say, I just want to go home. That's your working mind. Your would-be kidnapper stops by the door and addresses you before opening it. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, as soon as he opens the door, I'm making a run for it. Maybe I can outrun him. I'll save you the trouble. You can't. You can either get inside my car, and I'll get you to where you need to be, or you can try something stupid that you'll regret later. Do I make myself clear? Clear as day. Day, huh? He opens the door and gestures to a black Cadillac Escalade parked right outside the building. After you. Following the stranger's instructions. Make way to the car, get in the passenger seat. The door locks behind you. Inside, the Cadillac is almost entirely dark. The side windows seem to be light-proof. The man gets in the driver's seat, starts the engine, and drives away without another word. Who the hell are you, anyway? I'm the ferryman here to take you to the other side. He weighs his next words carefully. You'll have to forgive me. I'm not in the mood to wax poetic about the state you're in or my role in today's events. Just remember, if you want to survive the next 24 hours, you'll have to play along. Man, this is some shady bullshit. Why does everything have to be a fucking riddle? Well, riddle me this. Who's gonna get their teeth smashed into their brain if he doesn't shut up? Understand that this is for your own good. Times being what they are, you should consider yourself lucky. You drive in silence for about 20 more minutes. As exhaustion catches up with you. The street light fades into a blur. Eventually, the car stops, and the doors open. You emerge from your dreamlike state and find yourself in some kind of underground parking garage. You two are the only ones here. The man points to a nearby door. Go on in. Make yourself comfortable. If you get hungry again, take a look in the fridge. I'll pick you up tomorrow and you'll get your answers. Behind the door is a small room. No windows, just a simple bed and a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. A small fridge is humming away in the corner, accompanied by a rattling AC fan in the wall. I guess I've got no choice but to trust you. But it took you this long to figure it out. Remember when I said you were lucky? I meant it. See, my job is to get rid of problems, but I'm not always this polite about it. This time I was specifically told to mind my manners. So believe me when I tell you, considering how this night could have turned out, Being stuck in here for a night is really a good deal. Now get in, or I'll throw you in. You step inside. The stranger nods. Good night. He closes the door behind you. It looks sturdy, but as he's looking at you, notice claw marks all over. Looks like some previous guests weren't satisfied with their stay. You decide not to dwell on it and check the fridge. There's a single plastic bag there filled with red liquid, no label. Tomato soup? You feel sick to your stomach. Best leave it for now. You lie down on the bed. It's a simple mattress on a metal frame. You can't help but think it looks exactly like the one at the hotel with the bound woman. Oh right, you killed a man tonight, or did you? Maybe none of this is real. Maybe it's all an elaborate prank. The girl at the club just might have put her up to it. The tour guy is clearly in on it too. Now he's back with them and they're all laughing with their asses off. You don't know what to think anymore. Your mind races, but you're too tired to keep it going. Finally, you tense up one last time before drifting into oblivion. You wake up. That in itself is a surprise. You barely remember when you drifted off. It didn't feel quite like sleep. More like plummeting into an endless void. You imagine that's how death feels like. The room is unchanged. The lamp is still on. The AC is still rattling. The refrigerator is humming. You take a look at your watch. It's almost 9 PM and you slept for 17 hours straight. Maybe you died. Your breath is gone. You feel no thumping in your chest. Does that qualify as dead? If you're still conscious? You're not sure about that. But you are certain about one thing. You're hungry. It's not your stomach rumbling, though. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and back of the head. You open the fridge. The bag is still there. You take a closer look at it. If it's sleep, then its colour and texture are off. You pull the cork out and take a whiff. You recognise the smell immediately. Holy shit. There's no mistaking it. It's bagged blood. The smell is faint, but you remember some situations in the past where you found it nauseating. But now it's almost, no, not almost, it is enticing. Drip of blood. It feels wrong, but right now there's barely anything in your life that doesn't. To hell with it. You pour a bit of it into your mouth, of the liquid into your mouth. It tastes bland and reminds you of cheap supermarket juice. Just enough flavour to register it as what it claims to be on the box, but nothing like the real thing. Nothing like what you had the last time. You swallow it. Somehow you don't feel sick. In a weird messed up way, you can't help but think it feels nourishing. You take a few more sips, and then just another one. Suck on the bag a little bit more. Eventually you find that you've emptied it entirely. Or you look at the info pressed on the side of the bag. 450 ml of it, or a pint as it's also known. Even with its blandness, you still feel like having more. You realise your body longs for that intoxication high you felt when an image of that corpse crosses your mind, causing you to wince. What have you become? You try to piece your thoughts together, make sense of it all. When you hear the lock click and see the door open, standing there is the well-dressed stranger but you met yesterday. Sorry, well-dressed stranger you met yesterday. Immaculate suits again, that predator look like a hawk on a hunt, but somehow more relaxed tonight. So like a tamed hawk, maybe. Good evening. Slept well. He notices the discarded empty bag. I see you had a bit of a snack. I did. Got any more? Look at me, double gangster. No, and don't expect sustenance to be this easy to find the next time. Come on, we've got to get places to be. The car is humming in the empty parking lot. The car is humming in the empty parking lot. Not just outside the door of the cramped room you spent the day in. The man motions to it politely, but with a stern look in his face. Justin, you here, man? I'm touched, sincerely. You take the back seat again, the door's locked, the stranger takes the wheel and starts the car. You drive in silence for a while. From time to time, you keep trying to catch glimpses of familiar streets or landmarks through the blackened windows, but it's of little use. The car is also soundproof, so all you can hear is a bit of traffic humming and the car's engine. The driver doesn't say anything and seems focused on the road. You check the door handle. Yeah, the door is locked alright. A piece of dark glass separating you and the front of the car looks sturdy too. There's nothing left to do but wait. You didn't have time to think about it before, but you realized now that you are hungry? No, not exactly. It's not a rumbling stomach that grabs your attention. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and back of the head. I've literally said that a minute ago, didn't you? It's a bit of shit. You tried to extract some information out of the man behind the wheel, but you realised you preferred to bask in the afterglow of your last meal. You wouldn't have expected it, but you spent the rest of the trip lost in your thoughts. A lot of them concern blood. It takes another 20 or so minutes to get to your destination. As the door opens, you try to get your bearings. You're still in New York. That much is certain. Queens, maybe? After me, no sudden movements, please. You approach a nice looking building that houses a two-story gallery called the Art Hall. Two large men in suits flank the door on both sides, and they give your companion a nod as you approach. Prompted by the stranger guiding you, you walk inside. The gallery is full, which is unusual at this hour, to say the least. About 24 faces fill the showroom, and a number of waiters navigate the gathering, serving drinks. All of them are beneath the guests' attention. The visitors are well dressed for the most part, but it's unclear what they have gathered here for you. Nobody seems to be particularly interested in the art pieces on the walls, and the atmosphere is polite, unnaturally so. Many guests turn to look at you, and the stranger who brought you here. Their glances are varied. You see open contempt on a few faces and animated interest on others. Most of your eyes in the room calmly observe you, as if wishing to appraise your worth. The last time you felt like this was at your previous job interview. It was like being a piece of livestock, inspected from all sides for any imperfections, so your wage could be held down. It was dehumanizing and made you feel dirty. When they called you the next day to offer you the job, you declined. Even when you're a nobody, you become even less if you trade away your dignity for a paycheck. The memory makes you feel warmer inside even now, although the state of your bank account never did. Good evening, Kadir, and to you, child. The noble, cold voice takes you out of your head and back to the situation at hand, the gallery. Crowd of strangers, you being brought here against your will. For what purpose? The room awaits your response. Good evening, miss. You're addressing the Prince of New York City, Helen Panhard, child of Michaela, Tilda of Michaela. Thank you, my sheriff. But I am capable of introducing myself. She is somewhat plain looking and doesn't seem to possess a great deal of charm. But still, the entire room is intently focused on her voice. She has influence over these people, that much is clear. You may address me as Prince Childa. I realize you're introduction into the unlife was abrupt, and I understand your sire left shortly after. The rules of our society dictate I punish you both for this transgression. A murmur of agreement maybe can be heard from the gathered audience. And I'm willing to listen to what our Lord Sheriff has to say about the circumstances of your own base first. I think I clicked over him saying punish me, but for what? The sins of the father, so to speak. We have certain rules. One of them is that it is unlawful to create progeny without the prince's approval, my approval. Your sire never bothered to ask for it. You're about to be judged by the court of New York City. Please tell us how you found this progeny and what happened on your way here. Court, Prince? This is some kind of secret society make-believe. Trusted informant who was chosen to remain anonymous at this time took me off about a suspicious kindred appearing in one of our domains. Upon investigating, I found them gone, but this village remained in their place. The hunger made him savage a prostitute and his client in a Bronx hotel belonging to one of the ministry. I've already spoken to Sansaric about this and made sure it'll blow over. I'm afraid she proves to have quite the nerve and an unruly tongue. Surprisingly enough, he offered little resistance last night and cooperated on our way to their safe house. I was pleased to not have to force his compliance. We had a quick chat, but wishing to appear here post-haste, I urged him to join me, which he did without struggle. Again, a pleasant departure from my usual routine. His thirst partially slaked with the bag of blood we kept in the safe house, we had a pleasant enough drive here. The story ends with riding at Elysium tonight. All eyes are on you again. You take a special interest in one of their faces. It's a beautiful woman with curly, almost blood-red hair and a dress to match. You see her whispering to some respectable man with an absent-minded look on her face. Who is she, you wonder? Thank you, Kadir. Take note of this fetching behavior and we'll take it into consideration later. She turns her attention to you. First, there is the matter of the sire. The person who brought you here, where Kadir picked you up from last night. Who were they? A Latina woman, very radical. Unless she convincingly lied to me, she was special, extraordinary. She had fire, conviction, temper. She seduced me, easily in fact. Made me think she wanted me. I fell for it, and now I'm here. It feels awkward talking to a room full of strangers about what seemed like a random one-night stand at the time. I'm so thirsty. I need a drink. Not to mention Even though the Latina made an impression on you for sure, her face is already fading from your mind. You realise she never even told you her name. I've had more than one evening like that. Okay, dear, does that sound familiar? No, it does not, or at least not familiar enough. I will continue the search after we're done here. The Jixia entered our room at the motel, talked to the receptionist who might know something about her. Unlikely, but regardless for that, I'll investigate this later. What should I do with the fledgling, my prince? What is your recommendation, my sheriff? The decision is clear, thou shalt only sire another with the permission of thine elder. If thou createst another without thine elder's leave, both thou and thy progeny shall be slain. I'm ready to fulfill my duty. I say, however, a moment longer could it. I wish to consult my counsel on this, make sure everyone is in agreement. Of course, he seemed a strange relieved. The prince leaves the main showroom, and a handful of people follow her out. You're about to ask what all this talk of traditions and council is when the red-haired one approaches the two of you. Sophie. Alright, I'm gonna go and grab a drink. The red-haired woman, Sophie. right, Sophie. What news will Sophie bring us? This woman in red, with her curly hair. Sheriff, I was wondering if I could have a word with the fledgling. What for? Should always have voice and response. Come now, Kadir, we all know what the verdict is going to be. Let me speak to them. You might not have to stain your hands tonight after all. Her words grab his attention. His face is hard to read. It's like several emotions are struggling for domination. Anger, sadness, hope, gratitude, resolve. I'll go get my sword. That cheery fella, innit? Can you might have to kill someone. Oh, I'm gonna get my sword then. Kadir, I suspect, doesn't get out much. And if he does, it's work related. That's what I think. That's the kind of follower of orders that a lot of people like. But doesn't make a good soldier, because a good soldiers think. He steps out of the room the way you came. You are left in the showroom with the woman in the red dress. She takes you aside. The eyes of the remaining guests follow you. Well then, fledgling, I should give her a voice. Every time I forget what voices are who though, that's the problem. So when I chop this up and see on YouTube, it's just gonna fucking be a confusion. There'll be all people will be messaging, and the comments will be, "What the fuck? Who? Why has this woman got high voice? Well, low voice? Why is this?" But yeah, just confusing everyone. Oh well. When the fledgling. Well then, fledgling, you are in quite the pickle. What do you mean? What is the circus? Don't let. Clearly, people like us to be polite. What do you mean? What do you mean? I still don't understand what my crime is here. Well, think this really isn't your fault, but if you want to come out of here in one piece, you need to understand one crucial fact that seems to have eluded your grasp. Last night, you became a vampire. Wait, what? Oh yes, I am well aware of how ridiculous that sounds. It's the reason why we have these nicer words for it: kindred, being embraced, having a sire. The fact remains, the beings called vampires, you're looking at them, they're us. Would look in the mirror, but it's pointless, isn't it? Although, saying that, looking in the mirror and not seeing a reflection is confirmation, isn't it? Because normally one sees the reflection, doesn't one? You glance around. Some of the guests are still occasionally looking at you, commenting on you in hushed tones. Many of the patrons are pale. Really pale. Most hold glasses of wine. Is it red wine? Fucking ain't wine, mate. Yeah, see, eh? Boom. No, not wine. That's not the right thickness. And not the right colour either. Well, you do get some clarets and burgundies, that sort of Centiminions, maybe. Or Chateauneuf de Pape. They hit that kind of colour. But the thickness is definitely. Blood has more viscosity. You're right to come up with something sensible to say, but you're drawing a blank. makes a morbid kind of sense. You drank blood last night, there's no denying it, and your breathing has not returned. Your heart remains still. A vampire. Two voices in your head start battling for supremacy. One of them slowly begins to put everything that happened since yesterday evening together, coming to a conclusion that no matter how insane it might seem, nothing what she's saying makes sense. The other voice just keeps saying, what the fuck, on repeat. Yeah, I get that. That's literally life, innit? That's literally me. Every day. No, I'm not a vampire. You're surprised. This is often how it plays out by design. Kadir deliberately keeping you in the dark, I know. If we do nothing, you will be cut down, sure as day follows night. But I'm here to offer you a chance, a way out, under one condition. I will take you under my wing. If you're lucky, the prince will be in a good mood tonight, and your deference to Kadir will work in your favour. She might agree to this, but only if you swear fealty to me. I'm not making this offer lightly. As your patron, I will take responsibility for you. Your actions will reflect on me. If they reflect negatively, well, I will make sure you face the consequences. Suppose I say yes, what happens next? You survive, hopefully, or not, depending on the prince's whim. I'm giving you a chance, not a guarantee. But if you take me as your patron, I will be your guide in this new reality, and you will assist me like a Childa would desire. Steps and hushed voices can be heard from inside your room. It seems the prince and our council are returning to the showroom. Kadir appears from downstairs as well and starts walking towards you. When you hear the verdict, ask to be spared. I will intervene. Remember my condition. She flashes a heartwarming smile towards Kadir, who does not smile back. The sheriff's immaculate suit is now complemented by a curved, oriental-looking metal scabbard, fastened with a colourful sash around his waist. It would look vaguely ridiculous if it wasn't surprisingly intimidating first and foremost. I mean, a big fucking... somebody walks in the room with a big sword, people have been talking about killing you. Like, off the cuff. I wouldn't call that surprisingly intimidating. I would genuinely be like the much expected intimidation from the crazy guy with the sword. But that's me. Kadir takes his place next to you and observes as the prince takes center stage. Loyal kindred of the New York City Camarilla, gathered here tonight, I have made my decision regarding this fledgling. She briefly addresses you. I want you to know that this was not an easy decision to make. For your part, you have not done anything wrong, anything to earn our ire. I do feel a genuine sorrow for what must be done. We're all keenly aware that these nights we need to close ranks and trust the wisdom of our elders and their traditions more than ever before. There is no place for tolerating dissent when our very existence is under constant threat, though I acknowledge some of my council's divergent opinions on this. Okay. Little sip, little sip. Ooh, excuse me. She takes a look specifically at one of the people who left the room before, a rather plainly dressed, shy-looking man. His skin has a somewhat healthy tone. He bows his head in deference. I hold the authority over this fledgling's fate, and I declare that while their embrace might be the sire's responsibility, in their absence it is their progeny that must be punished. The sentence is final death to be resolved presently. Could it? You hear a scraping sound and see that the sheriff has unsheathed his cursed sword. It is beautifully detailed blade, which you expect must be worth a small fortune. Its apparent sharpness makes you freeze up. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. His quiet mumble is audible to you, to nobody but you. As his eyes meet yours, you note just a hint of sadness in his countenance, one that quickly vanishes to give way to grim determination. And he's out to bat. He will not get another chance to speak up. She can earn as much, but you are expected to become a slave. Well, that's all there is to it. Whatever the nightmare is, it's time for it to end. Maybe it's all a bad dream waiting for you to wake up. The blade slashes through your neck in a single clean cut. There's no story for this, I need just endless wood and nothing.